I'm here with Veronica. She's a 9-year-old quarter horse mare that I own. She started out, we bought her as a 2-year-old, unstarted, and she's been through our young horse program. She was trained as a reining horse for a few years, and then we made the transition into more Western dressage type training. And now we're working on pre-St. George level dressage. But this morning what I'd like to start out with is talking about some in-hand work. So if you can see on Veronica, I've got a double bridle. So we've got 2 bits. We've got a snaffle bit that has the ring and the curb bit that has the shank. And so when we get into more precise work, it's nice to have the option of 2 bits because the snaffle will be for lifting the horse and the curb bit will be for flexing. And so when we talk about flexion, again, I'm just talking about getting this type of a flexion just right at the base of the skull, that much to the left and that much to the right. I don't want the rest of this cervical part of her neck to be bent. So the more advanced we get, we're starting to work with some neck elevation. We want the pole to be at the highest point. And what I don't want is for her to break somewhere around C3 or somewhere farther down in the cervical part of her neck. So I've got to do a good job of stabilizing the neck and just trying to localize the flexion right behind her jaw, that much left and that much right. So let's get started with the in-hand work. I'm going to just walk her over here right along the fence. It starts out kind of the same as it did with Kitty Hawk in one of the previous episodes. But now we're working with the double bridle and it's getting a little more refined. So we start out along the fence, kind of at a square halt. And I'm going to gather up my reins, kind of one over the other in my left hand. My right hand, I have my whip kind of facing back towards her back end, and both the other reins in my right hand. So I'm going to start out, if I need to lift, my right hand can kind of pull down towards this shoulder. I'm working mostly on the snaffle rein. If I need to get on that curb rein, I can kind of rotate my hand this way. But I'm trying to mostly just get that lift on the snaffle here and then ask for that flexion. So that's where I'll start to kind of turn my hand and just kind of squeeze my hand there. Good. She gives me that flexion in her jaw. Good. She's starting to mobilize her jaw. That's good. I like to see that. And then I'll start to take that forward. So as she sees my shoulders start to move, she should come with me. Should be able to also stop. And as I rock my shoulders back, she should back up. All on contact. So there's nice even contact. I'm not having to pull her forward and back with my hand. She's going with, it's kind of like a little dance. She's going with me, and I'm going to be the leader of this dance. So we're going to start easing towards a shoulder in positioning where we've got the inside hind tracking between the 2 front feet. And again, I want her fairly straight through the rest of her body and just getting that flexion up in the jaw. And now I'll start to ask for the little trot. Good. So I just want to see a nice clear 2-beat rhythm at first. That was really good for the first attempt, first time out. We'll just come down here and turn around. It's good to take a lot of little breaks. So when your horse does something, we don't want to keep drilling it and make them dread it. We want to give them a break recognize that that was a good effort, and then come through to set it up again. Maybe set it up another way. So we've got, now we need to set up this flexion on the right rein. So I'll come here, soften the jaw, little squeezes of my hand. Try to get that flexion just in the jaw, and then we'll bring it forward. Again, I'm trying to walk in that shoulder in position. She already knows what's coming, that's fine. I haven't asked her to try it yet, but I'll just relax. Let her find the walk. Good. Walk. And now trot. Good. As we come to this corner, I'm going to think about sweeping out the corner with her haunches. That's okay. Good. And walk. Good girl. So we're talking about high RPMs, right? We want that energy. We want the trot tempo, but we're not covering a lot of ground. So we're doing little up and down steps. We call it a little trot. Now you're going to see as we go, she's going to start to get more suspension in her trot, where it looks more passagey. So there's a lot of different types of trot, but we want to use this on a horse like Veronica especially to build up some gymnastic training and some fitness in her. So she's built a little bit low-necked and a little bit high-crouped, so it's going to be harder for her to achieve a real uphill balance than it is a horse that's conformationally built uphill with a lower croup. So she's got to work a little harder, fitness-wise, to develop the same sort of outline necessary to do real collected work. So we come here again from the halt. I'm going to flex the jaw left. She mobilizes the jaw, and we walk. And trot. Now I'm going to see if maybe we can get a little more suspension. Almost thinking trot in place. Almost. Sweep out the corner. And walk. That was very good. Just give her a pat. Let her take a break. We'll turn around and do one more, going back to the right. Get my reins organized here. Okay, bring that right hind forward and flex the jaw. Good, and start walking. Now we'll start asking for more suspension. Come on. And let her walk. Good girl. All right, so that's a little look at some of the more advanced in-hand work and how we can start to teach those little trot steps. And again, we're thinking about high RPMs, but covering less ground and really getting that up and down suspension put into the horse. So it's really valuable stuff on a horse that's not necessarily built for the job. Just because they're not built for it doesn't mean they can't really achieve some nice work in the form of collection. So What we'll do next is take that into the saddle, and I'll show you a little bit more about how I would build on that now from her back.